Good morning and welcome to the pre-agenda interview for Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, relative to the appointments of Athlyn Giles to the Clean Pittsburgh Commission and Ms. Janet Evans to the Housing Authority. Would the clerk please read the title of the bill?
Bill number 986, resolution reappointing Athlyn Giles as a member of the Clean Pittsburgh Commission with a term to expire September 1st, 2028. And Bill number 1668, resolution reappointing Janet Evans as a member of the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh Board of Directors with a term to expire December 31st, 2029.
Thank you. For the record, we're joined by Councilwoman Strasburger as well as Councilwoman Warwick. At this point, I'll turn it over to Ms. Giles. Maybe if you would just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, why you're excited to be a part of the Clean Pittsburgh Commission, and then
Sure. My name is Athlyn Giles. I've worked for the city for going on 15 years. I started off as a sustainability coordinator in the mayor's office and have worked my way up to being the principal planner of sustainability and resilience for the city of Pittsburgh. One of the wonderful things that I've had the opportunity to do is to be part of the Clean Pittsburgh Commission, which was actually, it started off being literally a part of my job, but it was a pleasure to do and to serve on this commission. We've helped to make sure that the city of Pittsburgh stays clean and is in as good a condition as we can. It's a primarily voluntary opportunity by people not only in the city, within the city of Pittsburgh that work very diligently at waste, but also with a lot of wonderful volunteers from outside of local government that also volunteer their time and their talents in order to help make sure that the city can try to be as clean as possible. I served for the last 2 terms as the Clean Pittsburgh Commission's treasurer, so I help to make sure that all of our funds are being spent, and I'm just happy to continue that position.
thank you very much. I'll turn it over to Ms. Evans if there's anything you would like to say about your reappointment to the Housing Authority.
Excited. I've been on the board for a long time, and I was able to make a lot of changes for a lot of residents, as also the workers, especially if they needed new phones or new cars. But that was like in the first couple of years of me being on the board. I just don't think of my own area, but I think of the housing authority all around. And I would like to be reappointed. The reason is I'm there for the residents to help make changes, and I want to see what the future is going to be for them. So I represent a lot of people on the Housing Authority, not just my own area, but everybody.
I'm gonna hold this for you because we can't hear.
I'm sorry.
You want me to hold it?
I can do that.
You okay?
Now you ain't gonna hear me. You want me to start from the beginning?
Well, I think we heard you, but those listening outside of chambers may not have heard you. So you don't have to start from the beginning. I would say continue where you were.
Okay. So, a lot of people that I have talked to outside of the Housing Authority, it's very rare for people like myself that have a disability but can get around. I was involved in a couple of organizations like the Access Task Force for many years. I'm one of the founders of access. When they started the program, the pilot program was started in 1978, and then it went through to 1979. What access is a transportation helping people with disabilities and seniors get out of their homes and do what we all want to do, like shopping, visiting, going to school, and meetings. That's what access. Also, I still am on the Port Authority when they started adding people with disabilities on the buses. And I was one of the ones who tested out the ramps. Well, at first it was the lift and then the ramps. And I told them what was what. I just want to make sure you understand I wasn't the only one that was part of these committees, but I have helped a lot of them to understand and also reason why we should do certain things. I don't demand, I don't argue, I just try to reason with everybody and get my point across. So,
Thank you.
any questions of me?
Thank you. I will turn it over to members if they have questions for either of our guests. Councilwoman Warwick?
Sure. Yeah. All right. So, Afton, I'll start with you. So we have actually been talking a lot about litter. It's something that is a big problem in the city of Pittsburgh. And I'm curious, well, to be honest, I'm actually curious kind of about the role of the Clean Pittsburgh Commission. It's not a commission that I am actually super familiar with, although I am going to be on your next meeting talking about some, trying to get some funding for in-school programming with PPS. But yeah, so I'd be curious to sort of hear your thoughts on what. Well, a few things. One, sort of the educational side, right? I know that today Allegheny Cleanways is going to be in Greenfield School talking to the sixth graders. How we can do more of that, sort of that starting at the young age education efforts around the city, and then also some of these issues that we talked about yesterday at council. PennDOT not keeping their roads clean, our issues with legal issues with illegal dumping and dealing with properties that are not where folks are just leaving their properties full of garbage. Anyway, it's kind of open-ended, but
Yeah.
How the commission can help address those things or advise us on how to help address those things.
Sure. So the commission's been around for a while because before there was a commission, there really wasn't a ton other than a group of people that were sort of volunteering their time to talk about these issues. So the commission was formed because they wanted a way to elevate it beyond just a group of concerned citizens talking about litter to making it something more official. Over the years, it has transitioned. At first, we had no budget. Within the last maybe 10 years, we finally do have a budget, an official budget, and a lot of that is dependent on, in terms of how those funds are spent, It's dependent on a lot of different programs. Some of it is informed by council. One of the main programs that we have is the Community of Focus, where a lot of the people that serve on the council are also members of like Allegheny Clean Waste, PRC, and some of the other nonprofits within the city of Pittsburgh that particularly deal with waste, and they deal with waste on an annual basis. We also have, a lot of the people from the city as well, from DPW, myself from sustainability, where, council and members of the community, let us know where some of the pockets are happening with regards to illegal dumping and some of the other litter. The Community of Focus tends to travel from different communities. We've done Homewood, we've done the Hill District, we've done Hazelwood. I think we're moving into the West End this year. Just trying to do what we can to try to make sure that some of the litter that are in those places get cleaned up. But there's only so much that we can do, unfortunately, because $30,000 does not go very far. And the litter keeps coming. So some of the educational things that we have done, especially with illegal dumping, has been to work with some of the local magistrate judges to let them know how it impacts communities. There's a lot of cases where, we go through the process of cleaning it up, we go through the process of citing a place, we go through the process of even having the cameras to catch the person that actually did the illegal dumping, and then they get to, to the part where it's time for them to have some sort of sentencing, and they either get a slap on the wrist or it's forgiven. And it's like, well, we put in a lot of time, we put in a lot of effort for a person to be able to walk away. It's sort of undermines some of the process that we do, basically. For a while, we only had one person working on enforcement for the entire city for illegal dumping. I believe within the last year, we've actually hired two because the person that was doing it retired after many years of service. But it's a very slow process, and I think it's something that we really have to work together on more to make sure that the system's not broken, so that the time that is put into cleaning it up, the time that's in, a lot of it, like I said, is volunteer-led. Even the nonprofits that work on it, they have one or two staff people, and the rest of the people who are helping to clean up are actually volunteers, to be able to put more resources behind actually helping people to be able to afford to take the time to do this and to be able to take it seriously, not only from the cleanup portion of it all the way through to making sure it doesn't keep reoccurring. So that's definitely one way that we could work together on trying to make sure that the cycle isn't as broken as it is currently, basically. We also work on things like composting. One of the things that we've identified is that we need some sort of a regional waste strategy. The people from the commission have helped work with me to help to inform the process and some of the grant funding that we've applied to, so that we can try to get that going, so that we can do a zero waste plan, not only for the city of Pittsburgh, but for actually Allegheny County as a region. So those are some of the other things that, me being on the council and having their help and having their ear has also helped to inform us as a city too. So those are a few of the things.
I'm curious about your thoughts. So, one thing, and it sounds simple, but of course it's never simple, but, I would kind of love to see DPW treat litter the same way that we treat snow and weeds, right? As sort of like, or in potholes, right? As like a seasonal thing, where at this time of the year, when the snow is gone and the leaves are gone, and we can really see it, that, I know that is not, so I understand that the environmental services team has this gold plan where essentially it would be like a dedicated crew. And then there's challenges with that as well, just in terms of hiring and location, like where does that crew sit? Has the commission kind of looked at these options or have any
So the gold plan was one of the things that the commission helped to put together. So the person who actually wrote the gold plan was on the Clean Pittsburgh Commission for as the city representative from DPW for many years. So that's sort of one of the things that actually came out of the commission was the gold plan for litter, because we knew how much of an issue it actually was. One of the things that, like I said, and that you mentioned is resourcing it, basically, so that DPW has the staff who can put the time towards actually doing that. If I'm sure you are aware that the litter problem in Pittsburgh is almost chronic, and not only inside of the actual city core, but along a lot of the edges of the city, along our riverfronts especially, and that causes other problems that lead into some of the combined sewer overflow issues that we have, just because of the trash that gets washed away and gets stuck in the places that the water is supposed to be going down. It causes huge problems. So those are some of the things that really need an actual staff person, an actual crew put towards, so that they can actually have the time to put towards those resources, because a lot of the same people that are doing the same work of helping to do some of the other infrastructure, take care of some of the other infrastructure parts of Pittsburgh, are also the same people that are also tasked with litter. And it's a little difficult when you don't have enough people to do all the different things, especially if some other things take priority. So those are some of the things that we would love to talk to you guys about, to try to figure out if there's a way that we can get the dedicated personnel. I mean, environmental services, you're talking about only maybe about 4 or 5 people that are literally moving mountains on a daily basis, because they not only manage some of the litter issues, but they're also picking up, waste every single day from the 300,000 households that we have within the city. So,
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I guess I didn't realize. So the commission is saying it's the gold plan. Like, that's what we need to do.
That's one of the
is
things
have,
that we need.
have the dedicated team. I mean, I personally feel like if we were picking up litter regularly and, and also being a little more regular about citing, for example, businesses that have, litter in front of their business, that, once you start to clean it up, it kind of continues. So
I
that's
completely agree. Yes.
that's good to know. So I mean, that's something for us to consider when budget season rolls around. I know it's something that I've been asking for a while. I think there was an effort initially to kind of have DPW crews do it, but it didn't work out, because it was like there's always something.
It takes priority.
There's a pothole, or there's something like causing a block in the roadway or whatever. There were things that just, unfortunately, in terms of urgency, like rise above litter. But it's frustrating because we can't rely on volunteers. It's just not, it's not reasonable.
sustainable.
I mean, I pick up litter in my own neighborhood, and it's like, it just, you do it, and then 2 weeks later, it's
back. It blows back.
One quick, and this is, again, I know this is maybe a something that I've heard from some residents, and I feel like I've noticed myself, is, do you have thoughts about this change from the recycling to no bags in the bin? Because I feel like I have noticed on recycle days, like there's a lot, I don't know if it's blowing out of the cans or what, but I don't know if the commission has, but I also understand that the bags like muck up the machinery, so.
Yes. So I think that getting rid of the bags was the right way to go. I've actually had the unique opportunity to actually go visit the recycling center maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. I'm that old in city years. To have had a chance to actually go into the plant and see how it works, and seeing how detrimental having that plastic bags being broken and literally mucking up their operations, to where they have to shut down, clean up all the equipment before they can start processing again. And the first level of sort of the recycling system is not only breaking those bags, but then you have people that are on that first piece that are actually sifting through the waste and having to try to pick out tiny pieces of plastic, because it gets jammed up, it gets melted in part of the equipment, and it creates a horrible mess. I think one of the things that we could do better is to do enforcement in terms of making sure that people actually have lids and are using those lids on their waste.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what ends up happening, like you said, is people have open trash, whether it's trash or recycling. They're not using the lids aren't secured. The lids on the recycling bins actually lock. You push them down, and they actually do have sort of a locking mechanism in them. And then to help to keep that waste in and contained. I mean, we have wind in Pittsburgh. It's a thing. It blows the trash everywhere. It blows the waste everywhere. So I think, even just starting at the first level of just having that, the appropriate amount of staffing to be able to do the enforcement part of it, and then following through like the enforcement process, from ticketing to actually the fining portion of it, I think would go a long way to help with some of that, as well as helping to clean up the pockets. Because some of the litter that we have isn't just a person not caring. Some of it is, I put my trash out, the wind came and it started blowing it everywhere. Or it knocked over the trash can and then it starts rolling down the hill or whatever. So I think that making sure that people have those lids on there, are using them appropriately, and then the enforcement to make sure that, trash is not just sat open in boxes and things like that, I think will go a long way as well. And like you said, education is really also key to make sure that people are also recycling correctly and people are putting things in the trash correctly as well. I mean, we do have the policies. It's just a matter of making sure that they're followed through in some cases.
Yeah, the lids, I don't know, my lids buckle. I don't know about other, it's sort of hindsight's 2020, but I like those attached, clamshell lids. But anyway, maybe the next round, maybe when the city, whenever the, so I don't, do we want to do both at the same time or?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, so Janet, thank you very much for coming down and for all your years of service on the Housing Authority. I guess, one thing I wanted to ask, because I know that you have been working with Clara in my office on the efforts to get a tenant council organized at Glen Hazel. I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about that. I know that that's been a challenge for a number of housing authority properties to get people. If you have any advice for folks about how to how to get people excited about being on their tenant council.
How to be on a tenant council. You are able to talk with the manager.
Oh, here. Sorry, I forgot.
The reason why I was excited to be on a tenant council was I was able to get the group together and talk with the management. And over the last 4 to 5 years, we've been having so many changes in management. And actually, the property and the high rise where I live in Glen Hazel has really gone downhill.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make me happy at all. It started when I came home from the hospital from Kane, and when I went home on in the 1918, I was like really upset of the property starting to go downhill. And in the backyard, right now, the furniture was stolen, and that makes me really unhappy. Because I do travel the property at least once a year. When I did around 18 and 19, I was very disappointed. And I told management about it. But like I said, they keep changing to management. Now the question, getting back to how do I get people interested to be on council? Well, I've been a leader for a long time, ever since I moved into the high rise, and I wanted to make sure that everybody was attended to. That means seniors and people with disabilities, and also different people from different areas or countries. As a leader myself, I spoke up to get some of the stuff that we needed. first I noticed we needed a social worker. So I went to the housing authority and told them we really do need social work to help some of the seniors with their living quarters. And believe me, we got it within a year or 6 months to a year. Also, city parks came into the high rise and serviced them. And right now I'm a little disappointed because of the building going downhill. No heat and no parts for the new boiler yet. And it's really terrible. I know I'm working with one of the directors in the housing authority, and we're getting on management. So I'm not sure who's coming in or who's going out. I'm hoping by next month there will be changes. But as a leader, I just speak up. I don't wait for somebody to go and speak. I start speaking up right away. And I also offer my advice to management and tell them what's what. As of September of this year, the high rise in the area will be 50 years older. And also the family unit was put together around 1964. And to me, that area is very precious. To me, that's my home. And I don't want to move out. But I would like to see it improve. Some people says, why don't you become manager? I said, I'm going to need some help with that too.
Sure. Well, thank you.
But also, I don't know if any of you have heard the city county task force for people with disabilities. I haven't been with them, but as far as I know, I'm still on that committee. So I'm all over the city.
That's right.
Because everybody knows me down here.
Yeah,
down
we do.
in Vicksburg.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Janet. That's all the questions I have. So thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Any other members? Councilwoman Strasburger?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, thank you both for your service, your ongoing service, and your willingness to serve into the future. Afton, you're one of the first people I met when I started at the city as a staffer more than 10 years ago. And to have your level of experience and institutional memory and knowledge on these issues is just wonderful. The city is fortunate to have you, and the commission is fortunate to have you. The thing I wanted to ask about, and I've asked other candidates for the Clean Pittsburgh Commission as well, is I keep thinking back to that fabulous report that the Pennsylvania Resources Council released several years ago on the need for updates to Act 101 at the state level. Like the original recycling, waste, reuse bill that was passed in like 1988 at the state level. And clearly it's like a roadmap for we need this change and like 20 changes and updates to the code to make it easier for cities to do their job, to keep our city clean on everything from recycling to waste to incentivizing reuse. I know it might not be the charge, but does does the commission, or could the commission, or would you consider on the commission kind of continuing to track bills that are introduced, even if it means just coordinating with the city's lobbyist and seeing what bills are introduced that might relate to that? Because I think there's increasing interest and energy in, it was spoken about yesterday. I've spoken to Councilman Mosley about this a couple of times, like Council President mentioned it as well, maybe getting a group together from council to go and get a priority list to speak with members about. And the challenge with waste and litter is like, it's something that everyone comments on, but it never gets the priority it needs to pass a bill or to get the, the thing over the finish line, especially at the state level when there's so many issues and so many priorities. So I guess if we get our act together and are ready for a visit of some sort and are considering some set of bills to push, is that something that the commission might be able to provide us with, like, hey, this is the one that would really unlock funding or unlock the ability to do what we need to do?
I don't see why not. I mean, absolutely. If that's something that you guys need, and having that interaction and having council, even members of council attend meetings, which I know, you guys do and sometimes do at least. I feel like having that communication and having that task list for us definitely helps us to prioritize what we should be talking about at our meetings. We have sort of the standard stuff that we do all the time and every year. But if you have a special need like us to try to help do maybe some policy analysis, there's no reason why we can't do that. So if you want like maybe a priority list of some of like maybe the top 5 or 10 priorities or things to consider, it's just a matter of just the ask. So absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for your service.
Sure.
And Janet, thank you for your continued service as well on the task force and the authority, your longstanding service. I really don't have any questions for you. I'm just glad that you are representing the city in that way. So thank you.
Can I? May I have the mic?
Sorry.
I care about people, and I have helped a lot of them, giving them advice. I know I'm hardly ever down here speaking my mind, but I have caregivers that I can't always come down here on the meeting days. I know I can talk to Barbara if I need to, and Claire, and I do appreciate the invitation to come down here to ask me questions about me reappointed to the board. I don't know if I am or going to be reappointed. I don't know, because I've had the pleasure of making some wise decisions. And the one thing, I don't know if you know about this, we have a WOW. The first W is Wi-Fi on wheels. And I was inspiring the directors, and they told me I inspired that van. They can go to the community to pick up people who want to learn computers, and it's accessible. They started out with one, and now they got 2 of them, and it's really accessible. Cause when they got it, I said, you gotta come to my computer. I want to try it out. And I did. And it was very good. So, the Housing Authority, I encourage them to hire within. And that's how, may I tell that story? All right. Over 20 years ago, I was appointed to the board of directors, and they were looking for a new executive director. Well, I went through the list of resumes, and they spent a whole lot of money from outsiders from across the nation, especially out west. So the present executive director, I read his resume, and so when we were deciding on an executive director at breakfast, I went to the group and I said, why are we going all over the country when we can hire somebody within here that has this qualification? And they all agreed with me, and they thought that was reasonable. And guess what? It worked. So I guess in some ways I'm an influencer because I think a lot about stuff. And so, any other questions, really? 'Cause I really want to hear the questions that might come up in your minds. So,
None
go
fr-
ahead.
None from me. There might be other questions from others. I'll just say I think that you've highlighted exactly why, underscored what I continue to beat the drum on, which is that life experience matters, and life experience as representation on boards, authorities, commissions, and councils matters. So thank you for representing. That's the only questions that I have
Thank
and
you.
comments, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Charlin?
Yes. Thank you both for being here and for your willingness to serve. Ms. Evans, I'll just start with you. I'm very interested in the concept of tenants councils, something I'm working really hard to get strong tenants councils in my housing authority properties. I appreciate your work with the tenants council, and I just be curious if you can give me anything that I can take back to my constituents in terms of what is the greatest thing that being part of the tenants council has given you and therefore your building.
I was a president for a long time of my tenant council because I was able to talk with management, and we used to have meetings once a month with the manager, not every meeting. If we had problems, someone had to take the initiative to go to management at least once a week or a month and speak of all the problems, not demand them to fix them, but be reasonable. And the reason why I felt that I had a voice with management, not to demand stuff, or just reason with them why they needed that. And sometimes that doesn't work, but there has to be some enthusiasm with the tenants in your area. Someone needs to kind of get excited of being a leader to help that organization. I have helped. I don't tell the tenants everything. I just inspire them and ask them to go to management and just talk with them. I don't know really how to say it, but there has to be someone in the buildings or areas that can speak up for the residents, not really demand stuff, but be reasonable and think a little bit. And me, if I see something that's really wrong, and right now, some of the tenants are starting to talk with management, especially when the elevators break down, no heat, no hot water, and I encourage them to talk to management. And this past year, in our high rise, actually like the last 6 months, it's been terrible because of the elevators. They say there is a plan for emergencies, like when the elevators break down or if there's a fire, and the fire department will, if there's a fire, they will come and check it out and put it out. I know the last time we had a fire in the high rise, and it wasn't near me. It wasn't near my apartment, and they just told me to stay near the balcony. If we had to be evacuated, they would help us. I talked to management in the last couple of months to see if they had a plan for people who have power chairs or scooters. Do they have a whole list of people that need the help? Like people bedridden, like if there's an emergency at night, I'm bedridden, and now I have 24-hour care. It doesn't always work, but I just talk with the agency and caseworkers what I need. So most of the residents where I live, some of them can help themselves and some need help to get downstairs or out of bed. I'm hoping I'm making sense.
Well, thank you very much. And I really, appreciate your experience there. It's really important for us. We used to have strong tenant councils in our housing authority properties. We no longer do, and it's something we're continuing to work on with the housing authority. They've really stepped up to try and embrace this with us. So it's something that helps me, and I think is important for everyone in the building. So thank you for your experience, and thank you for your service there.
When the present executive director, when he got that position, and I encouraged him to have a resident advisory board, have the presidents of the councils meet at least once a month and bring the problems that they're having with the area. And that seemed to work. I haven't been since I'm no longer a president in my tenant council, but the tenant council is slowly getting back together. Barbara, can you speak on that a little bit?
Oh, yeah, we have elections coming up. Anyway, happy to chat offline about how we got there.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate your time here, and thanks for your willingness to serve. Afton, I do have some questions for you on trash, if that's okay. I'm really red hot about our garbage situation right now. I don't know what's that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to say this another way. It gets worse and worse every year, and it is not getting better. And the systems around it are not changing. So the gold plan was something that was introduced years ago, and although it is something that I think is, fantastic, it's not something that's been embraced. So I'm very frustrated with thinking that by doing the same thing over and over again, we're going to have different results. And
Are you talking about trash?
yes,
Okay, I might have an answer. Can I have the mic back?
I apologize. I do want to. We're talking to Afton about the Clean Pittsburgh Commission here.
The trash. A long time ago, we were told if they don't clean up the trash and they have trash everywhere, everybody on that particular floor or area is going to get a $50 check. Not just one person, but the whole floor will get it because of maybe one person or two people are not picking up the trash and putting it where it belongs.
Thank you. I would be curious, Afton, if you've got suggestions on what do you think is going to change? What in 2025 is different than 2024? And I know that in order for one of the things that needs to happen for us to build out the gold plan is for the 4th Division in my district to be built so that we can finally have a home base for the folks that are working on the gold plan, which will be the Strip District, the place the 4th Division is working out of right now. That site, I had an old public works employee talk to me just recently and said that site is haunted. And frankly, I think that is the best answer that I can understand for what's gone on with that project. It's got to be ghosts or something like that. We're 8 years on a prefab shed. So I'm curious though, what do you think is going to change? We're not going to be able to run with we're not going to have the 4th Division built this year, so the gold plan team is not going to be in place. We're fighting to hire the anti-litter inspectors. We've passed quality of life ticketing. What is going to change?
I can't speak for DPW because
Yeah.
I'm not part of DPW.
Correct.
I'm part of planning. I do know that the gold plan was we took a lot of time putting it together. I know that it was sort of put in front of the mayor about maybe 3 years ago. So in terms of plans coming and being implemented by the city, it's actually kind of a baby. It takes quite a bit of time for local government to unfortunately make some of the broad stroke moves that need to happen to bring any plan into fruition. And I think that, with it being in its infancy and actually not even being fully implemented the way that it was written, it's a little difficult to discuss its effectiveness and efficiency until it's actually implemented. So I think some of the things that we can actually do is, like you said, to work on actually hiring the enforcement, actually implementing and going through the steps of implementing the plan of putting the divisions together. And I think that that's something that we have to continue to actually work on so that it's actually a plan that is functioning. And because I think one of the things that happens in local government is, every 4 years we have a change in administration. Every 2 years we have, pretty much a change in council. So it's a constant change in people, and that also means a constant change in priorities, basically. And I think that it's going to require us actually staying the course and being consistent to actually see something through, because if we keep changing things every time we get something in place and it never has a chance to actually take off and flourish, then that causes issues as well. So I think we need to make the decision of what we're going to do about it, and we actually need to follow through and put the resources behind it to make sure that it happens. And until that happens, we're always going to end up with fragmentation and shifting priorities. So I think that we should actually make it work. We should actually try to work the plan at the very least, versus changing it again and then starting from scratch all over again and trying to figure out something else to do.
Yeah, and my suggestion is not to abandon the goal plan by any means. I know the folks that worked on that and worked very hard on it. I know how hard they fought to get a presentation in front of the mayor to be able to explain that to the mayor's office. Was very much not accepted the first couple times they had to put that in front, but thankfully now I guess we've got some buy-in there. But I need help. Like I can't be in my district ankles, up to my ankles in trash. We've got to approach this like it's an emergency. What can we change this year?
I agree with you. We need to make it a priority.
Yeah.
I live in Homewood. Talking about being ankles deep in trash,
Yeah, right.
I am waist deep in trash
Yeah.
on a daily basis. So I definitely feel your pain. I'm one of the many concerned citizens that take the time to go out almost on a daily basis to help to clean up in front of my own yard, just to try to keep that together, and then have to clean up around the corner all the trash that keeps getting dumped and dumped or just abandoned or blown or whatever else, and it continues to pile up. So I definitely feel your pain. As a concerned citizen, as a resident of Pittsburgh, and as a person who works on this as on pretty much a daily basis as part of my job. Not only I started off working in energy efficiency and buildings and housing, and it's shifted to waste, and waste has pretty much carried the last 4 years of my time at the city in one way or another. So I can definitely say that I am beyond frustrated with the situation. So I think that it's good that we finally have the right representation who cares about this issue to try to elevate it, because it's something that we all feel that we all have to deal with. And I think that it's an asset to have you as a concerned person who will help to prioritize this and help to make sure that the policies that we have been pushing for are finally implemented and resourced correctly. That's the only way that I can see us making a difference or having a change, is for it to have the personnel behind it to make it happen, which we have not had. Yeah. We just haven't. And you've seen the results of not having that for so long, and to the point where it was maybe a small problem that is now chronic.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm not a concerned person. I'm a pissed person.
Right.
Like
I'm trying to use
I'm furious.
nice
Yeah.
language.
But I do, appreciate you saying that. I guess we have the bodies. We know we've got the bodies. We've never, since times of austerity, we've never had more public works employees. We don't have the vehicles. We know that that's a problem that continues to be. We continue to underfund the vehicles there. But I just can't believe that it's just a funding issue, though. Like, there has to be other systemic ways that we can change the system that exists, mm-hmm. so that it works differently. Again, that's why that was my impetus for quality of life ticketing, which is one piece, but quality of life ticketing will affect private individuals on their property. It will not affect, the systemic dumping. It will not affect the back alley stash away a bunch of TVs and tires. this weekend for me is we have the major Southside Block Watch cleanup, one of my favorite events of the year. But it will, generally the South Side off of East Carson Street, where we pay a clean team to actually clean the street, remove 1 ton of trash
And it'll be back
every
next
month. Every month we pay to remove that. But other than that, the South Side is relatively clean. We've really worked pretty hard on the South Side flats, but what do we do to change all of our neighborhoods? Like neighborhoods, especially neighborhoods of need, do not deserve to live like this.
No, I agree.
So what are the systemic things that we can change to make that happen now?
I think that it's going to take a culture shift, really, within our citizens to understand the cost of waste before they actually take it seriously and try to do something about it. I know one thing that we really have never touched as a city is the pay-as-you-throw issue, what a lot of other places have. And that's where people actually get a bill for their waste every single month so that they know exactly what it is they're paying for. And the resources that people sort of take advantage of, or not even, well, they take advantage of them, but it's sort of given to them sort of for free. Just even having like your bulk couch carried away is something that, people just take for granted, I think, sometimes. And it's something that people just don't have in their mind in our city as, the true cost of waste, the true cost of recycling, the true cost of having these volunteers come and help to clean up. And I feel like that's one thing we can possibly consider, and it also is something that could actually bring resources directly into DPW for waste. I really don't know any other way to make people care about this issue on the individual level until they actually see how it's impacting them, beyond just seeing it in their front yard and saying, oh, maybe I'll get it tomorrow. And until there is something that is a carrot for them to help to incentivize them on an individual level, and then there is a stick behind it that says that at some point, if you keep letting it go, that it's going to catch up with you, I don't know what else we can do. We can send out the flyers, we can do the education, we can educate in the schools, we can educate at community meetings, we can, put the volunteer forces together, we can do the cleanups on a monthly basis, but until somebody knows how it's impacting them, and usually, unfortunately, it has to be impacting them to their pocket, it's really difficult to actually try to change this and to push this forward. So I think the thing that we can do is to look at other places that they're doing waste more successfully, and we can try to implement those policies. And one of the ones that we never want to talk about tends to be the pay-as-you-throw issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit on something that is another bee in my bonnet here constantly, is looking at other areas and seeing how they do anything. I think we have
about rewards.
What's that?
Rewards. If they keep their area clean.
Rewards.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Rewards. Like to the area, at least have a big reward. Maybe at the end of the year or something, they would appreciate a group dinner or something, some kind of a reward. I don't know exactly, but maybe. I was just thinking, like, if they live in a high rise or even a community, have a reward for them, like a big dinner or a gift card for the ones that keep their areas clean. There would be an incentive, something like a reward. You would have to come up with the idea of.
And the money.
Yeah, I'm thinking because what we used to do in my high rise once a year to give the tenants.
So Janet, we do need to continue with the interview. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
sorry.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
I guess that actually does lead me to one other point there. The Clean Pittsburgh Commission used to do the Bob Awards.
We still do that.
You still do the Bob Awards?
Yeah, every year.
Okay.
Can
Can we find out about when they're happening?
Yeah, we're planning it
and how
right
we
now.
can celebrate
Yeah.
the.
So we do the Bob Awards every year. That's following the waste cleanup that we do. It's the community. My brain right now is like spacing on the name of the event, but we're getting ready to gear up for planning it again this year. So we get all the communities together. They compete. Green Olympics. Thank you. Garbage Olympics. Thank you. Sorry, my brain was like spacing. And then, as part of the Garbage Olympics, we have the Bob Awards. That's what follows that. Basically, we reward everybody that helps and that partners with the Green Olympics, which is our annual event to help clean up, our communities. And then we have the Bob Awards that not only recognizes the people that participate in that event, but the people who all year long are champions in cleanup. So.
Yeah, I'll have you know that last year, the top 3 neighborhoods that won Garbage Olympics all came from my district.
Oh, wonderful.
And I have been on the winning team of the Garbage Olympics over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So, between multiple neighborhoods.
Absolutely. But yeah.
All right. Anyway, that being said, I want to continue talking about this. Like I said,
I'd be happy to.
very impassioned about this. So, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Coghill, do you have any?
I'll be brief because I know we have to start our meeting, don't we?
Well, there's 2 things. One, we
Okay.
have to start our regular meeting, but we're experiencing sound problems.
Oh,
And so our sound isn't working on Zoom or YouTube right now.
Right.
In order for us to try to get it to work, they have to hard reset the system. So we're going to need at least a 5-minute break between our pre-agenda and our regular agenda.
Gotcha. So you
So-
want me to finish up
Yes.
any questions I have?
Briefly.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And I'm sure, our viewers will be glad to not hear me if that's the case. All right. So I'm sorry. So it's Ms. Giles.
Giles, mhm.
Giles. Okay. I didn't know if it's Giles or Giles. Are you an employee of the city? Is that
Yes,
right? Okay.
I
What department are you?
City planning.
Oh, okay, you're in planning, okay. So the Clean Pittsburgh Commission, how many people are on there, do you know?
Oh gosh. So it fluctuates from year to year. I think right now we have about 7 people, and
7,
we're
okay.
looking for more. So.
Right. I know very well the Garbage Olympics, and I'll remind my colleague over here that Carrick actually used to clean house every time, and yeah. So we're probably gonna have the cleanest side of the river, I think, if we continue doing what we're doing. But let me just put it to you bluntly as I see it. I take it upon myself. I bought vests, we have signage, we just picking trash up, right, alongside, especially the streets that come into my district. It's like the first thing I see. And I'm sure visitors or people who are not from the area, it's probably the first thing they see too.
Right, yeah.
I notice it when I'm in other neighborhoods or wherever I'm at. And I'm very much in line with Councilman Charland here, where, it's like, that's why I took it in my own hands. I'm like, oh my God, it's so filthy. But I will say this, I have been working with our Public Works, Director Hornstein, our 2 directors, John McClory, or not directors, they're, what are they called there? Supervisors, John McClory and Jeff Cook, who both, split my district. And, I think it's been working great. I get the volunteers, they pick up what's seen alongside these roads. And I'm going to just take a typical road. It's probably 6 to 10 large bags of, you name it, right? Everything from diapers to Gatorade bottles to you name it. And Public Works come along, and they also do that work as well. So I really feel like we have gotten my district very clean in just a 3-week period. So my point is, it's cheap to clean. It really is. I know there's trucks involved, and Public Works come out with their dump truck and throw things in the back. But we're talking about gas and labor, some on Public Works. But if you get volunteers, you can really do it very inexpensively. It's a matter of some garbage bags, some gloves, and the will. It really is. But you can comment after I'm done, okay? That being said, I'm really proud as to what we've cleaned up so far. And again, it's a partnership with Public Works. But 70% of the trash is not being picked up because it's down over the hill. It's stuff that Public Works isn't going to go down there. Maybe they would. I doubt it. I'm talking, dangerous hills, and you could just see it. And so 70% is down over the hill. It's whether it's blown down there over the years or you name it. We need, I don't know if Public Works, I haven't talked to Director Hornstein about this at all yet, but we almost need special crews. I'm going to call them like the over the hill gang, not meaning age, but to go down over these hills. And I'm talking, I estimate I'm a contractor, so I got a good idea as to what it would take. I'm guessing 6 people over each of these so-called hills. I got probably 10 of them that I know about. It'll take them 6 people probably most of the day, everything from tires, it's bigger stuff down there. That's where people illegally dump, things like that. So each site's very different, but we need serious resources, and I won't be happy until we get that deep clean, until I know I'm getting stuff that you can't see when you're driving by the car. We're getting this stuff that you can't see. That's easy enough with volunteers, I feel, in Public Works. But it's the stuff down over the hill that's been there for years and years, and it's dumping debris. And again, it will take almost a full day for 4 or 5 people in each one of these sites that I'm thinking about. So, and then I'll know it's a deep clean, and then we put up stiff fines and penalties for people that litter, because one thing I hate is cleaning it up and seeing it back. So, okay, with that, I'm sorry, Ms. Giles. I didn't mean to go on, but I just wanted to give you my full perspective because we're going to probably try to wrap things up here, and if you want to comment, please do.
Sure. I think part of the issue is that people do feel that it is cheap to clean, but it's not cheap to clean. It's costing people a lot in, and mental stress, and it costs a lot in their time. So every single one of those volunteers, if you actually had to pay them to do the work that they're doing, you would see very quickly that it is not cheap to clean. And you're talking about sending people over hillsides, which some of these volunteers take it upon themselves to do, and you're asking our DPW staff to do. And that's not cheap either, because like you said, there are dangerous, steep hillsides. And a lot of the trash that falls there, and a lot of the trash that people and our volunteers are cleaning up, are dangerous things. You're talking about needles, you're talking about glass, you're talking about weird broken car parts and oil and who knows what that's been dumped.
Dangerous sides of roads.
Exactly. It's dangerous stuff that puts people at risk. And like you said, the next week, because people have it in their minds thinking that it's cheap to clean and that it's, somebody else will get it, that they just put it back and leave it on the side and, somebody else will get it, Or that's what I pay them for is another thing that we often hear. There have been actual times where I've been part of volunteer crews, whether it's with just my own time or Girl Scouts, because I used to be a Girl Scout leader, where my kids are out there helping to clean up as a community thing, and then somebody literally throws something in front of us and says, "Oh, it'll keep you in business." It's not cheap to clean, and I think that that's one of the perceptions that we have to change. In Pittsburgh, among ourselves, among our staff, and among our communities, that it costs us a lot to not keep our communities clean. And like you said, it's a visitor's nightmare to come in to think that they're coming to this great, beautiful city. They come through the tunnels, they see, this beautiful skyline, and then they get into the city or they get into the communities and they're thinking like, I'm not sure that I want to move here because it looks dirty. And that's costing us people as well. And it's costing us, it could be costing us business. So I think that part of the mentality shift that we have to come to is that it's not cheap to clean. We do have to put resources into it. It's going to cost us time, it's going to cost us effort. And, and the more that we put into it on the front end will save us in the back end. We shouldn't be on the defense with this issue anymore. We should be hopefully get to the point, like you said, where we're on the offense of it, where we're cleaning it up, we're doing the deep dive, and it's not coming back the very next week or sometimes the very next day. And it's not just the people that are in the city of Pittsburgh that are just dumping the trash. Sometimes it's the people that are going through who are just like, oh, here's a good place. They leave it off and then they go back to wherever they came from, because it's a place that they're used to coming. But I don't want to keep you guys.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
We are on the offensive in the 4th District, I will tell you.
Yeah.
It's been for 3 years now for me. Yeah. I've started this was 2-3 years ago. We took a more aggressive approach this year because, like Councilman Charlotte, I'm like, oh my gosh. And it is partly just because of vegetation. The snow is gone, the ice is gone,
Right.
and
You
guess
can
what?
see it now.
There it is. It's been there all the time. We just haven't noticed it, and we're not going to notice it once it grows over either. So I have focused on main roads right now, what I can see.
Right.
The deeper dive I want to do in the winter after the vegetation goes, of course. Poison ivy, you can't see it. There's a lot of reasons why not to go over there now.
Right.
For now, I'm doing the visuals though, and I will disagree with you on it is cheap to pick up garbage. It really is. I know I don't get estimates or stats from the director as to how many hours like his folks have, but they work for the city of Pittsburgh, right? We're utilizing them in which I know Director Hornstein supports picking up
Right.
garbage, right? So
But when they're doing that, that means they're not doing something else. We have to keep that in mind too.
I do keep that in mind, but
Right.
you know what to me is more important than anything on their docket is picking up rubbish on the sides of the road. That's the most important thing to me. There's nothing more important than being clean and safe and sterile, okay? So you'll come to my district and I'll show you routes that I picked up, and I've done it for nothing.
Right.
I've done it for nothing. I have volunteers. Some volunteers I force, but I have volunteers. And, Public Works come by. The only expense that we have is in Public Work employees, whatever time they come to pick up this stuff. And I have big stuff, so I'm not saying that there's not an expense there. But if we compare that as to what this city spends on other things, it's a drop in a bucket. It is cheap to clean. Cleaning is cheap. I don't want, us to spend resources or financial means on anybody, really. I don't think we need to. I have so many volunteers in my district, I feel like it's just a matter of keeping them safe. But you're right. When you get them over the hills, that requires, and again, I haven't talked to the director about this, but that requires serious man hours, okay? And serious time commitment. But it needs to be done. And I hope, by winter, the director and I could get something formulated there where it's our employees actually cleaning it with volunteers. But, I hesitate to send volunteers down over the hill. So, okay, that's it for me, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. You've worked for the city for a long time now, so I'm very familiar with your work. I'm grateful for your willingness to both serve the city in your formal capacity as well as your work on the commission. And so I really just thank you for being here. I thank you for answering all of members' questions, and I thank you for your willingness to serve. Your appointment will come up for a formal vote next week. We're not allowed to say how we'll vote now, but I believe it'll be more than favorable.
Should be all right. You
Should be all right. That's a good way of saying it. With that, we've exhausted the business of this interview, and therefore this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Won't you tell me? Save me. Won't you tell me?
Good morning and welcome to the Standing Committees meeting for Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. All council meetings will be live streamed on the city's website. And for guest speakers, please do not turn off your microphones. Our first order of business is roll call. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charlin. Mr. Coghill.
Here.
Ms. Gross.
Here.
Mr. Lavelle. Here. Mr. Mosley. Mrs. Cal Smith. Ms. Warwick.
Here.
Mr. Wilson. Ms. Strasburger, Chair.
Here.
5 members present.
Thank you. And we do need to waive the rules of council, waive Rule 3 regarding start time. Can I get a motion to waive the rules?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Rules been waived. Our next order of business is public comment. I would like to remind all speakers that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which are or may be before city council, and profanity will not be permitted. Please state your name and neighborhood for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Our first registered speaker is Azasha Menafield. Azasha Menafield, do not see them here. Are there any speakers wishing to come to the podium?
Good morning. My name is Yvonne F. Brown. I live at 715 Mercer Street. That's up at the top of the hill. This morning, I wanted you to see the Pittsburgh Courier, and this is from March the 18th through the 25th. And it says that the NAACP president of our branch here in Pittsburgh has resigned. They're saying that we don't have that much membership. Now, I myself, I had been a member of the NAACP, and I let it slack, but I will be joining it again. Citizens, and for the ones that are watching, you know we need the NAACP, especially now. But I myself feel that if it wasn't for the NAACP, we wouldn't have some of the freedoms that we have, because we don't have that much now. Now, another thing, I didn't plan on talking about the mayor, but when I see this is what I want people to look. See this paper, the city paper says freedom versus fear. You see this freedom versus fear, and I'm gonna show you why. Now look at Mayor Gainey. Look how black they made him. Anytime you want to make something look evil or dirty or something to be afraid of, you make him blacker than what he is. Now, you got your Corey. Look at Corey. You got his white face, and he's in color. They didn't make him dark like they made the mayor. When I talk about colorism, that's what I'm talking about. Anytime you're dark, a lot of times you're looked at as being evil. Something's wrong with you. That's why they took the slaves from Africa and brought them over here and beat us and made us what we are, because we're mixed race, because you're white slave owners who were the dregs of the prison. You know, they let them, a lot of them go. They were prisoners. They were criminals. And then they put them over black people. Black, well, we used to be called colored or Negro, but now we say the color black. We're not black like this, not black like the color black, but they say that we are. I can remember my daughter. My husband's light complected, so I had one daughter, Nikki, that she's really a real reddish color. When she was little, Carmen, who was dark like me, said, "I'm brown and you're orange." And if you looked like her, if you had looked at her, she did look orange. I went to work and I was saying that. Said what my grandbaby, what my daughter said. Well, yeah, the white lady took me in the bathroom and she said, "You take this piece of paper and put it up against her and tell her that's not orange." I said, "When you take the white piece of paper and put it up against your baby
Thank
and
you,
tell
Ms.
her
Brown.
that's not white, well, I'll do the same."
Thank you.
This racism, colorism.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, afternoon. I don't know which one it is. Special Agent Sunshine. I return to sender any voodoo hexes, curses you guys sending me. 100 million, billion, trillion googolplex. Whew. Y'all are having court sessions without me being present. It's amazing. So that means the Postal Service is being bribed. Judges are being bribed, lawyers are being bribed. So to pervert the course of justice. So what? I don't get what belongs to me. Y'all still having meetings trying to kill me. So I don't get what belongs to me. Really? God's not having it. I promise you he's not. Psalm 7:15 says, "Whoever digs a hole and scoops it out falls into the pit they have made." So whatever hole y'all trying to dig for me to put me in, get ready to go into it yourselves. Because what God has for me, it is for me. It's written for me to have what was taken from me. And y'all have to give it to me. You can keep delaying it. The longer you do, the more people are going to get sick and pass away. Don't believe it, just watch. Whatever you acquire outside of God's will eventually turns to ashes. Remember this? Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. That's what that's talking about. Let me pray. Lord, show me anything I've used to find meaning apart from you. Give me the freedom to lay it all at your feet. Right now in my life, I'm pursuing only him, not a relationship, not a man. I refuse to live under the counsel of you guys because y'all are ungodly. I will never do that, ever. Whew. Psalm 5:5-6 says, "The arrogant cannot stand in your presence. You hate all who do wrong. You destroy those who tell lies. The bloodthirsty and deceitful, you, Lord, detest. It's just so amazing how bad you guys want me dead. I'm going to keep shining the light on it, and God is going to make sure that I stay alive and come here and show you that your voodoo, your sending towards me is not working. Why? Because what belongs to me, what he has for me, it is for me. And you have to give it to me. I forgive all of you. I don't hold anything against any of you. But you better stop doing voodoo, because he's going to take y'all out one by one in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much. Are there any further speakers? Seeing none, we will now move on to our standing committee's agenda. Our first committee is the Finance and Law Committee. We have deferred papers, Bill 1634.
Bill 1634, resolution repealing an item in resolution number 512 of 2022, effective date September 23rd, 2022, in order to rescind the sale.
Oops, sorry. Motion to hold for 1 week.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of a 1 week hold, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Bill will be held for 1 week. Madam Clerk, can we please read Bill 1667 and 1691 together?
Bill 1667, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Mohammed Birney for tuition reimbursement for an amount not to exceed $33,292 over 1 year. And Bill number 1691, resolution transferring the amount of $33,292 within the 2025 operating budget from City Council Districts' salaries and wages, regular to City Council Districts' employee benefits for the purpose of tuition reimbursement.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor of a 2 week hold, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Bills will be held for 2 weeks. Bill 1675.
Bill number 1675, resolution providing for the sale of certain property in the 23rd Ward in the 1st Council District of the City of Pittsburgh, acquired by the City of Pittsburgh at tax sale.
Motion to hold 2 weeks.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of a 2 week hold, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Bill 1675 will be held for 2 weeks. New papers, Bill 1687.
Bill 1687, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of the County of Allegheny in an amount not to exceed $13,647 over 1 year in full and final settlement of a claim for damage to the glycol line sidewalk heating system at the Allegheny County Courthouse by Domi Traffic Division during sign replacement on the Forbes Avenue sidewalk area of the courthouse on December 3rd, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 1687, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Affirmative recommendation. That moves us on to invoices. Do we have a motion on invoices?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of invoices, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Invoices are approved. That moves us on to P cards. Do I have a motion on P cards?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of P cards, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. P cards are approved. That moves us on to Public Safety and Wellness Committee, chaired by Councilman Coghill.
Bill number 1531, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety to enter into a clinical affiliation agreement with Community College of Allegheny County to enact a precepting program allowing students to learn professional skills from city employees in the Bureau of Emergency Medical Services for training and educational purposes at zero cost to the city.
Motion to hold for 3 weeks.
Second.
Discussion?
Really? At the request of the Public Safety Director.
Seeing none, all those in favor of a 3 week hold on Bill 1531, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Bill will be held for 3 weeks. That moves us on to Public Works and Infrastructure Committee, chaired by Councilmember Warwick.
Bill number 1689, resolution amending Resolution 803 of 2024, entitled Resolution Authorizing the Mayor of the City of Pittsburgh and the Director of the Office of Management and Budget to apply for a grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Economic Development's Multimodal Transportation Fund for the Penn Avenue Lighting Project. The grant proposal includes an ask of $461,856 for this stated purpose, to accept the grant, reduce the grant amount, and authorize necessary expenditures.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? I do have a question about this, if there's someone present. Thanks. Should be a pretty quick and easy question, but feel free to introduce yourself.
Sure. Patrick Cornell, Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you. So, forgive me for not looking into this further beforehand, but I know that if all goes as planned, hopefully we will have our citywide LED lighting project completed. Is this the same type of lighting? Is it different, or is this just going to help defray the cost of that in some way?
That is a good question. I don't have that answer
okay.
off the top of my head. My understanding is that this is different and separate from the street light project as a whole. But I do not have the answer, but I can get it.
Okay. I see Director Lucas here. We can put her on the spotlight immediately if she knows the answer. Related to Penn Avenue Lighting Project? I don't know if you can come in.
Little tech lag between the third floor and
Yes,
the fourth
yes.
floor.
And I will use this opportunity to say we realize that there has been there are some technical issues. We believe it is a Zoom update issue, but we're not sure. But you should be able to watch it via cable on YouTube right now, even if it's not, the Zoom isn't completely working correctly. So apologies to everyone who might be tuning in. And I also see Councilwoman Gross raising her hand. So maybe we'll start with an interrogatory there and then see if the question's answered. Oh, no, yeah, but you want to, sorry. You don't want to answer. You want to ask your own question. Please. So my question is, Director Lucas, Penn Avenue lighting, it's uncontroversial. It's a grant proposal for $461. This is Bill 1689 for the Penn Avenue lighting project, which is great. You know, no issue. Always looking for more funding. I was just curious if this is to defray the cost of the LED streetlight. Like if this is the same kind of lighting as the citywide LED project, or how is this distinct, and like why is this separate then from that whole project?
Sure, it's an opportunity to enhance that particular business district with additional lighting like we see in some other corridors for safety and economic development purposes. So it will go to support our project. We didn't want to necessarily divert funds from our base level lighting designs that we have citywide. And this was in partnership with the East Liberty Corridor Chamber of Commerce.
Got it. So this is an enhancement. Okay. Thank you. That's all I had. Councilmember Gross.
Thank you. Penn Avenue is a very, very long corridor, right, from downtown to the edge of the city. So I was kind of wondering which part of the project this is.
So this is for an 8-block stretch, and it'll include 96 lights in the main business corridor.
It's from Spirit at the busway to Negley. So mostly District 9 with
Spirit Street
at the busway through Negley. Yes, mostly Great. District 9 with the one block part in District 8 that Scott McMurtry has so graciously reminded us is part of District 8.
Okay, got it. So the East Liberty Business District. Okay, that was my question. That's all. Thank you.
Any further questions, discussion? Councilman Mosley.
I just want to thank Domi for your partnership. I was on those emails, I think, in an initial meeting we had upstairs to pull together the Chamber of Commerce and the other stakeholders within the East Liberty Business District. So it's good to see this move forward, and thank you for your partnership.
Thank you. All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of Bill 1689, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Affirmative recommendation. Thank you both. That moves us on to Bill 1690.
Bill 1690, resolution amending Resolution 133 of 2024, entitled Resolution Authorizing the Mayor and the Director of the Department of Public Works to enter into an agreement or agreements or the use of existing agreements between the City of Pittsburgh and Pashack Plus MTR for the professional design services for the Fort Pitt Park Phase 1 improvements at a cost not to exceed $300,000 by increasing the total city cost by $115,170 for a new total city cost not to exceed $415,170 over 1 year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 1690, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. That moves us on to Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs Committee, chaired by Councilman Mosley.
We skipped innovation and performance. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Oh,
we have one.
I must have.
Mine has the one, Bill 1723.
I apologize.
Yeah, innovation and performance.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay, I'll work off of, if I could work off of a paper version. Apologies. So, so I have Intergovernmental Educational Affairs Committee. Do you have one that's
Innovation.
innovation?
I don't have any papers.
I don't
today.
have innovation.
Oh, you're right.
What's this? We have different agendas.
They gave us a new agenda before.
Yeah, you weren't here. They switched the agendas. It was different.
I'm working off of an agenda that was sent
I don't know.
at
do you have a paper in
9:52
my-
a.m.
There's a new one if you want.
No, I can maybe go on that.
I don't think so. No.
Mine's not on mine either.
Did you show, was that the newer one that you showed her?
I had the new one.
Yeah, I think I have the newer one as well.
Does the new one have innovation and performance listed?
Yeah.
It does, okay.
Yeah, we don't have that.
I don't remember there being a new paper last week.
So the next, let me see. Yeah, I just downloaded this out of Legislator. Intergovernmental is next.
Okay. So we'll move on to Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs Committee, chaired by Councilman Mosley.
Bill number 1723, resolution authorizing the City of Pittsburgh, the Director of Public Works, and the Director of Finance to enter into an easement agreement or agreements with Duquesne Light Company and Pittsburgh Water to provide, install, use, own, operate, maintain, repair, renew, and finally remove one pole anchor upon city-owned property, 6 poles, 5 anchors, and overhead wires upon city-owned property, collectively the DLC assets, to manage vegetation on a parcel in the vicinity of the DLC assets and to perform landscaping in the vicinity of the DLC assets at no cost to the city.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 1723, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions? Affirmative recommendation. New papers, Bill 1681.
Bill 1681, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant payable in favor of the Pennsylvania Municipal League for 1-year subscription in an amount not to exceed $52,962.24.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 1681, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Bill 1682.
Bill 1682, resolution providing for the issuance of a warrant in favor of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission in the amount of $72,500 for delinquent debts owed by the City of Pittsburgh for 811 damage prevention calls.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 1682, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Bill 1683.
Resolution repealing Resolution 366 of 2019, effective June 14th, 2019, authorizing the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh to acquire all the city's right, title, and interest, if any, in and into the publicly owned property in the 15th Ward, City of Pittsburgh, designated in the Deed Registry Office of Allegheny County as Block 56B, Lot 345, Council District 5, at no cost to the city.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 1683, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Bill 1684.
Bill 1684, resolution approving execution of a contract for disposition by sale of land between the URA of Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh Land Bank for the sale of Block 10J, lots 259 and 260 in the 5th Ward, City of Pittsburgh, Aaron Street, Council District Number 6, at no cost to the city.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 1684, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Bill 1685.
Bill 1685, resolution approving execution of a contract for disposition by sale of land between the URA of Pittsburgh and Island Avenue Holdings, LLC, for the sale of Block 21D, Lot 42A, in the 27th Ward of the City of Pittsburgh, Island Avenue, Council District Number 2, at no cost to the city.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 1685, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Bill 1686.
Bill 1686, resolution approving execution of a contract for disposition by sale of land between the URA of Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh Land Bank for the sale of Block 83A, Lot 48, 11th Ward, City of Pittsburgh, North Aiken Avenue, Council District Number 9, at no cost to the city.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 1686, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. That exhausts our meeting agenda. We do have some meeting announcements. Next week, council will hold their regular meeting on Tuesday, April 15th, and their standing committees meeting on Wednesday, April 16th, both at 10 a.m. To register to speak at these meetings and hearings, please fill out the sign-up form on the council meeting webpage by the deadline. You may also call the clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Is there anything from members? Seeing none, I will take a motion to excuse the absent members, approve the minutes, and adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting's adjourned.